Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, look, if you have been on my channel before, you know that I love Rachel Schwartz. I came across Rachel Schwartz when a lot of my students at Synchronicity University were asking for Kabbalah astrology. And I found these clips online of Rachel doing her media thing in New York media. And I just felt like this woman is a star. I love her. And then I got to know her because I contacted her and I said, hey, let me interview you and do a class for me. And just the love is real, let me tell you. And so I am sure that if you just watch for 3 minutes, very quickly, you are also going to fall in love with Rachel. She truly is a superstar, one of the leading Kabbalah astrologers in the world. So let me tell you, with a foundation in traditional astrology, Rachel specializes in Kabbalistic astrology, an ancient system that follows the lunar calendar. Her profound, energetic, and humorous approach to teaching astrology draws on her own experiences to help students overcome their own struggles. You can find her on Instagram at Rachel the Astrologer. Now, the real treat is that Rachel is also going to be one of our conference presenters at Embracing the Community, a celebration of Astrologies. This is a very special event that is put on by the London School of Astrology and Synchronicity University. There are coupon codes to get 50% off. This event is taking place over the Autumn Equinox weekend, and she is one of the superstar astrologers that is going to be there. Well, I'm very thrilled to announce here that Rachel is actually going to be back at Synchronicity University with a very special 5-part course in Kabbalistic astrology, an intro to Kabbalistic astrology that a lot of students have been asking for. Again, I feel so fortunate that Rachel is going to be joining us at Synchronicity University over the course of October 2021. And right now, this course is choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class, which really is an unheard of rate for the quality of learning that Rachel does provide. Rachel, thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. You're so amazing, and everything that you do. You know, I have to say you have such an inspiration and such a desire to make this world a better place, Nadiya. And I must say that you're an inspiration to me.
I have to say, anytime you talk to me, I get chills, and I just got chills right now. And you know, like, I just feel like I could learn from you. I could talk to you forever and ever. And I was mentioning to Rachel just before we started that I have been tapping into this Rachel Schwartz archetype lately. I've gotten highlights and I'm trying to make my hair bigger and bigger. And anytime I do, I'm like, yes, Rachel the lioness. That's the energy coming forward here. So you inspire me so much in so many ways.
Thank you so much. And you know what? I'll tell you something funny. My hair is a little bit damp, so there's a chance that by the end of the interview, it will even be bigger. So be ready.
More fabulous. More fabulous. Yes.
Yeah, more like the main, you know?
Oh, yes. And because you are so Leo, you are such a star, but you're going to be teaching Kabbalistic astrology. I'm very, very excited about this. So talk about what you are going to be bringing to this conference event. What will your talk be about?
So, you know that one of the things that we are all always dealing with is relationships. Relationships is everything. You know that the concept of relationships is everywhere. With, of course, with the partners in our lives, with our parents, with our children, with our friends, with our clients. Everything in this life, according to the Kabbalistic astrology and generally the spiritual understanding, is that, you know, in order for us to really progress on earth, we cannot sit, you know, in a mountain somewhere and just meditate. A lot of times, the spiritual people, we think that that's the most important thing to do, to meditate, to pray, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a part of our purpose in this life that has to do with a direct connection to the universe, to the creator. But the part that really helps us grow and change actually has to do with relationships. And astrology gives us an understanding of what we call in Kabbalah the concept of Tikkun. Every person has a specific tikkun that they came to make in this lifetime, a correction that they came to make in this lifetime. A correction doesn't mean necessarily something bad. It means that in my life, as you know, in my chart, there are certain areas that I have to work on. Some things would come more easily to me, and some things will come in a more difficult way. Relationships will always have a side that needs to be corrected. And if we just say, for instance, what can I do? My Venus is in Virgo, so I'm always judgmental to people, right? It's not exactly what Kabbalistic astrology says. It says that because my Venus is in Virgo, I have the potential to have issues in that department because I look for the details too much. But on the other hand, by the way, I look so much for the details that I can miss huge things in the big picture, right? If I understand that actually I have an opportunity here when I learn about my sign, it's not like written in stone that some people will have a correction in relationships. Like if we talk, for instance, about Aquariuses are idealistic. They dream and they fall in love a lot of times with a concept, with an ideal of a person, right? And then they're like, wait a minute, why aren't you the dream that I thought you're gonna be? Actually, now you're disappointing me. So if we understand what is as I keep using that word, so it gets into everybody's head, tikkun, the correction that they can, even if somebody has signs that it's more easy for them, supposedly, to be in relation, like Libra. We'll learn in the class how and why actually Libras, as much as they want relationship more than anything, actually they're the ones that have the most difficulties many times in their relationship.
Wow. Okay, from a Kabbalistic astrology perspective, that'll be really fun to learn.
It's good, right? Like to understand that the deep reasons, and this is something that we need to understand, and we will always look at that first, is what are the beliefs that the astrology teaches me that I have. It's not that we are just, I am like a certain sign and that's what it is. It's like there are beliefs that are related and that limit me because of the time I chose to be born. And it's not that we are influenced according to Kabbalistic astrology. We choose to be born at that time, because the way that the skies look at that moment is actually teaching me about me and what I have to work on. So this is like what we're going to get to, and we're going to talk about what is the purpose of relationships spiritually. Why do we need that? Not only to push me to be better. Why do we have the yearning for relationships? Even people that don't have, it comes from hurt most of the times. Why some people have desires for relationship, but their love of freedom will create issues. So when I say, like, I don't know why I always attract the same type of guys or the same type of girls, right? Why do I do it? We attract what our belief systems allow us to attract. So if I believe that I don't deserve a good relationship, I'm going to attract relationships that are eventually not going to be good. And this is what we're going to get into in that seminar.
My dad is a Leo, and I love my dad so much. He was always like this incredible figure to me, and is to this day. And so, yeah, I love that Leo energy, always have.
I love Aquariuses, obviously, or the opposites on the wheel. All my friends are Aquariuses. Aquariuses, like if we talk about relationships for a second, like we talk about Aquarius Leo, right? the understanding of relationships astrologically and even Kabbalistically is that even though we're opposites, we're supposed to eventually come towards each other. So the Aquarius is able to teach the Leo, for instance, if we talk about us, right? About like thinking more about ideals, thinking more about the world, because the Leo can be very much about, I don't like it, it's not good for me. And the Aquarius can be like, what do you mean? But my needs are not as important as the needs of the world, right? But the Leo is teaching the Aquarius is it's okay to have a desire. It's okay to understand what you really want. It's not going to take away your freedom or your big picture. It's okay to connect there. So that's the beauty of understanding the signs in relationships. Again, one of the things that a lot of times people will be worried is like, oh my gosh, I'm a Scorpio and I married an Aries, right? Is it like the worst thing in the world, right? It's not about that. It's about one more bridge to cross before you get to what maybe more compatible signs will be. But we're going to talk about it in the seminar because I want people to understand that astrology is not about limitation. It's about expansion. And this is the opportunity that we have.
And so can you explain that? Astrology is not about limitation, it's about expansion. How do you understand astrology as connected to expansion?
So if I look at my sign as my limiting force, my sign limits me. I will say again, let's say that somebody is a Capricorn and they look at the sign from the perspective of the practicality and the very rational mind. My father-in-law is a Capricorn. One of the first things he said to me when he met me, he said, I am a very realistic person. He didn't like the whole astrology thing. And I said, you know what? That's your problem in life. But I said it with love, of course, but that's the issue. So if I understand it like a limiting force, it can be limiting. But if I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm a Capricorn, which means that in my natural instinct, I will be more grounded or practical or looking at things in a very physical way. I can expand it. When I know my issue, I can actually go out of the box. I can tap into being above the influence of my sign. If I look, let's say, at the Scorpio, right? And a lot of times people will look at Scorpios as people that are controlling. But if I limit, oh, that's Scorpio, they're controlling, right? But if I say, wait a minute, I'm learning about Scorpios, and Scorpios are actually people that operate a lot from fear. It's not about, nobody comes from a place that is really about control. Deep inside is fear. Look how much compassion I can have for somebody, even if they control me, even if I feel judged. The whole world opens up to me because it helps me understand why people, that when we do charts, you can never judge somebody when you do their chart. You can't, because you see everything. You see where they're coming from. You have extra compassion to a person as an astrologer, right? Because you see everything. And that's what we want, that education, that learning is eventually expanding our mind. It's not limiting it.
And so awareness is the pathway to compassion. Awareness is the pathway to expansion.
I love it. Yes, exactly like that. When I know more, and I know, it's like, I'm going to get more into it in the seminar, but at the end of the day, we all want to feel on the soul level, we want to feel intimacy. We want to feel connection, all of us. some more than others, some in different ways than others, but that's what we're looking for. If I learn more about you and you learn more about me, I'm able to feel more intimacy. I'm able to feel more oneness with you. In the big picture, I don't know if I'm going to have time to talk about all that, but just in a quick way, we are all really a part of one thing. That's really what it is. We are all one. It's not that there is one God, it means that God is one. That's what Kabbalistic Kabbalah talks about. We are all one of the, like, so if I look at you as you're one, we are all part of the same thing, and I know you better, and I feel that I'm not going to be scared of you because I know you. Separation has to do with fear. So that we're going to talk about, like, that essence of relationships from that perspective. You always need an Aquarius around for good ideas, it's like always a good thing to have an Aquarius in your life.
But it's also a really good thing to have a Leo around so that you have the confidence to make those ideas count for something. You have the confidence to believe in those ideas and actually follow through with some inspiration and creativity and action. Yeah. Right. It's a wonderful spectrum, isn't it? Yes.
all the signs are amazing, and all people, and it's so important to understand that, because people think that, oh, I have the worst sign, or I have the worst. Like sometimes I'll talk to people, oh, did you see the chart? It's horrible. No, there's no such a thing. There's no such a thing. We all get what we are supposed to have in this life, which means that this is my package that I need to work with in this lifetime, because that's what I need. That's the beauty of going to this space. It creates also peace. It creates peace. You understand that whatever you're going through is actually a part of a big picture process,
Well, I'm very thrilled to announce here that Rachel is actually going to be back at Synchronicity University with a very special 5-part course in Kabbalistic astrology, an intro to Kabbalistic astrology that a lot of students have been asking for. Again, I feel so fortunate that Rachel is going to be joining us at Synchronicity University over the course of October 2021. And right now, this course is choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class, which really is an unheard of rate for the quality of learning that Rachel does provide. So Rachel, thank you so much also for coming back, for teaching a more extensive class, because the students loved you the last time that you were with us. They absolutely loved you, and you're the perfect one to teach this course. So talk a little bit about the course as well. What can you tell us about what are students going to learn over the course of 5 weeks of a Kabbalistic astrology course?
Okay, so we're going to actually break it down to a few main topics that, in my opinion, are, it's my opinion, but I think most people will agree.
You're brilliant. It's fine. Yes. Your opinion is more than enough because you are brilliant. Yes.
Thank you so much. So we're going to talk about things that are really burning and what astrology teaches us about that, and how can we, extract through the wisdom of Kabbalistic astrology and Kabbalah. We're going to touch upon some Kabbalah concepts, Kabbalistic concepts that are related to the certain things that we're talking about. So we're going to talk, for instance, about the whole idea of relationships and sexual energy, the sex and the energy that is related to how the world right now looks at sex. You know that according to Kabbalah, sex is one of the highest ways to receive energy, a positive energy on earth. It's actually, they compare it to the Garden of Eden, the Kabbalists. They say that there are very few things on this earth that taste like the Garden of Eden or that feel. Sex is one of them. So how do we connect to that very high, powerful energy in a way that it's not going to be today I feel high and tomorrow I feel yuck? In a good day tomorrow, sometimes it's right after. right? How do we tap into that purity, that holy energy that is behind sex? And we're going to really look at the signs and talk about what's their beliefs around sex, what's their work with sex. It's going to be a lot about the sexual energy. Some people that can have issues with expressing sexually, some people that can be obsessive with sexual energy. We're going to break it down to understand what is really the way to achieve the highest level of sexual connection. We're going to talk about business and money, and what are the blockages and what are the beliefs of every sign about money and why they're blocked with it based on those beliefs. Because money is just energy. It's just the flow of energy. It's just a way to tap into a physical, it's physical things, but really the essence of it is energetic. So we're going to see how each and every one of the signs can connect to that energy, but also what blocks us. You know, what are the beliefs around it that we have, even from past lives? We're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk also about what's happening now, because a part of Kabbalistic astrology is also the understanding of what's happening cosmically right now. And actually, Kabbalah talks about it like from 2000 years ago about our generation. And this is a generation that is, it feels to live now, it feels like you're living in like the times of, you know, Armageddon. And actually, it is what Kabbalah says, that our generation is actually considered the days of Messiah, the days of, it's called in Hebrew, Mashiach. We are in the days that people are gonna not know what to believe. That's what the Zohar, the main book of Kabbalah, talks about 2000 years ago. It says that we're going to be in times that you're not going to know what to believe. And I think a lot of people feel that. They don't know what to believe. Is this real? Is that real? Is media real? Are politicians real? Is my doctor real? Is this person that speaks against everything real? What's real? Is the conspiracy real? We're in a time that it's very, very hard to feel certainty. And we're going to look at this time through the eyes of the Zohar, which is the main book of Kabbalah, but we'll also see what's happening cosmically right now and how it's affecting us and what is our work right now. Because I'll give you a hint, it's definitely not to identify with outer things. I'm going to talk more about it. Another thing that I'm going to get into that is one of my favorite topics to talk about, it's actually parenting.
Wow.
And to understand what is my work as a parent first, and what does it mean when my child is born under a certain sign? What is the Kabbalistic work of parenting? Why do we even want? Where does the desire to have a child, where does it come from? Definitely not from our comfort zone, let me tell you. One of the most uncomfortable things, right?
Yeah.
So where does that come from? We're gonna understand the spiritual idea of astrology and parenting. And yeah, in the beginning, I'm going to give, in the first class, I'm going to give some overview about what is Kabbalistic astrology, where it's coming from. It's a very ancient, I would call it technology, because it's, even though ancient and technology sounds like an oxymoron, but it is actually what it is, right? It's a technology. And we're going to go a little deeper into it, and I'm going to bring some stories from many, many years ago about astrology and how the old sages used astrology. And I don't want to tell you everything now because I want to leave you some for when we get there.
Yeah, and because there's so much to learn, I'm sure. It is a
Yes.
5-week course, a 5-part course, and yet I know that there's going to be so much covered. Like, yes, there's the philosophical perspective that I love about what you do, but also the practical application of it as well, which I also love about what you do. And what I really love, I mean, I know so little about Kabbalistic astrology, but what I know, a lot of it, I would say most of it, is from watching you online and all the wonderful things that you share. And I love that there's this understanding of astrology as a spiritual practice, that there's this awareness that there is a mystical energy that we are an expression of, that is
Right.
constantly playing out in our lives, that wants to be known, that wants to be acknowledged. And when we do that, we are able to bring that much more to our lives. We're able to be that much more. And I think what you said earlier, I loved when you talked about awareness being expansion. Like, awareness is expansion. And this is a very powerful spiritual and mystical technology. Yes, an astrological technology that allows for us to understand how we can be more expansive in the world. And I think that's a very powerful tool and powerful skills that you'll be presenting to us. I'm very
Yeah.
excited to learn. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to teach it, and I'm excited. You know that there's nothing more fulfilling and giving you happiness than helping people change their lives. And I feel that, like, for us, we're so lucky that we have tools that when we share them, people go home and then they start, hey, I should do more than from this, I should do less. A part of it will be what we should do less of. A part of it will be what we shouldn't jump into doing automatically, right? This awareness is actually like a flashlight that shows you that's what you do that sometimes limits you. So if you want to expand, that awareness will awaken you actually to remove what limits you. And we're very lucky, and I think that, like, if people even come and take the classes, and I'm sure many other classes that you offer, they're gonna have more knowledge that they can even help other people with. And again, instead of more judging them, right? Like, even if I talk about like the business part, or if you're gonna talk about business, right? When you sit with a person in a business meeting and you know their sign, and again, it's not about manipulation, but it's understanding how to talk to them, how to communicate with this person, what's gonna ring their bell, it's something that can actually help us with our children, with our uh, relationships of any kind. If I want to say something my way because I think I'm right, but the other person can't hear me, I'm not doing anything. And it gives me so many good tools to be understood, but also to help people. And I feel that that's one of the biggest stakes you can take. Like, how can I do more for people? How can I be more of an influencer in the world?
You had mentioned earlier that we all have something to work on in this lifetime. And when you said that, I was thinking about how I think too many of us expect ourselves to be like the Buddha, right? To be this perfect spiritual embodiment. But if we were that, then we would ascend to nirvana, right? We would already be there. We would have no reason to be here on earth embodied. It is because we are here that we know that there's more to learn. And it sounds like, with an understanding of Kabbalistic astrology, at least the pathway towards learning can accelerate somewhat, can accelerate to a point where we at least are able to understand what some of our lessons are, instead of just feeling like we're feeling our way through the dark, you know?
Right, exactly that. It's like we feel lost. We feel, why does it keep happening to me? Why do I meet the same guy just with different body, but it's the same story, or the same boss, but it's like
Oh,
literally
yeah.
different companies. Why things keep happening to me? And I'm a good person. I'm not doing anything wrong. it's because when we understand that there's something in us that needs to be changed. And it's not that, it's like you said, it's not like, oh, now that I know, we're talking in the month, in the Hebrew calendar right now, we're in the month of Virgo, actually. And the month of Virgo is connected spiritually to cleansing. So we'll talk a little bit about that too, by the way, in the introduction, about the months and the energies of the Hebrew months. But it's like if a Virgo looks at themselves and says, oh, I'm horrible, I'm so bad, I made mistakes, they can do that. Or they can say, I made a mistake, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm going to learn from it. It's just a matter of changing the way you see those mistakes or those difficulties, or forgiving yourself even for not being perfect or an idealistic creature, right? That's the thing.
Well, I'm just so excited that Rachel is going to be joining us in so many wonderful ways with the conference event of the year, the London School of Astrology and Synchronicity University Autumn Equinox Weekend Conference event. So link is in the description below. Remember, coupon codes are in the description below as well. Rachel will be one of a bunch of superstar astrologers that are going to be joining us. And of course, the thrill I think that I have of the year is that I am going to get to spend time learning from Rachel at synchronicityuniversity.com as well, with her very special 5-part course on Kabbalistic astrology. And this is choose your tuition rate right now for a very limited time, as low as just $5 a class at synchronicityuniversity.com. Rachel, thank you. I love you. I mean, you know that I love you. I adore you. From the moment I first saw you on YouTube, I was like, oh my God, this woman's amazing. I need to get to know her. And from the moment I actually had a conversation with you, you've been inspiring and insightful, and you leave and give so much love every time that I speak to you. And I'm just so grateful for that. Thank you for coming to my school. Thank you for all that you bring, all that you give into the astrological world at large. Truly so grateful for you, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Nadiya. Thank you for everything. All the best.
Yes, and thank you, everybody out there. All the best to you as well. And thank you for watching. Until we connect again, take care. Bye.
Bye.